see. Looks like we're getting to be live again. This is another session, another lesson. Give you just an update if you didn't catch the first one. Well, I just want to welcome everybody. That's what I want to do first, and give you an update as to what's going on. Uh, for those who don't know, a few weeks ago, while I was practicing, my fingers just collapsed. That was it. They collapsed. They couldn't move them. They were paralyzed. And I had to kind of shake them around a little bit. I got it going, but that kind of frightened me. And then it was getting progressively worse, even though I was stopping and stopping for a day. At any rate, medical insurance ran out last October, but I should be qualified for Medicare, but there's paperwork involved and something got screwed up with Social Security with my birth date. So that's going to be, I'm not going to see anything like that, anything for until September. So I managed to get an appointment with a occupational therapist online who specializes with musicians with hand problems. And after a whole bunch of series of movements and everything, her diagnosis was that it's an inflammation of the radial nerve right about over here. And I'm under there's a strict schedule of practicing, that it's like 3 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 3 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 3 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And then, that's it. And then you do a few days of that, and then finally you work your way up where you can play like a couple of measures and a few measures, and that's kind of where I am now. I can't do a performance yet, but hopefully she's thinking that if I keep up with the medication, which is anti-inflammatories, I should be back on track. So I'm just hoping that is what is going to happen. In the meantime, I can still teach, albeit on a limited basis. And I have to say that so far, I did one session this afternoon, and your generosity is overwhelming. I really appreciate it. The donations are helping. That's going to go towards, because I have to see the occupational therapist a few more times, and it's all, that's where that's going. So I really want to thank you all so far for your generosity and your support. And hopefully in the fall, I'll be back up to complete speed. So in the meantime, there's links above me. One is a donation link, any amount you want to give, but I'm also going to give you a choice of whatever lesson that there is on my website. And speaking of my guitar lesson website, there's a link right above me, and that's where you can download the tab for today's lesson and tonight's lesson, or wherever you are. This is going to be Etta Baker, the Knoxville Rag. That's exactly what I'm going to be teaching. Etta, it wasn't like, I guess I could say I studied with her, but I visited her and brought my guitar and brought my video camera and sat there with her and interviewed her, and then we wound up playing for quite some time, and then the next day I went back and she was showing me all kinds of cool things. So I owe a lot to the late Etta Baker. She was a wonderful person, and a very talented, natural Piedmont guitar player. So I was very, very fortunate to have been able to spend time with her at her home. If you want to chat or anything like that, I have a chat box right open. I can answer you if you want to make a comment in the Facebook page. And anyway, we're going to get right into the Knoxville Rag. I'm going to play the way that she showed me. And actually, you can see the pictures of her and me on my website, the other website, which is littletobywalker.com. And there's something called Learning from the Masters. And in that section, Learning from the Masters, you'll see all these people that I hung out with and learned from back in the early 90s. Anyway, so you just Google Toby Walker and Etta Baker, and that page will come up with Etta. So I'm going to play Knoxville Rag slowly, And then I'm going to get into teaching it, and then I will show you a variation that I came up with and show you why I came up with that, how you can come up with something. So this is the Knoxville Rag, the first part. She would play this over and over again to the delight so many kids that would listen to this style back in the late 50s and the early 60s. The thing was going is that alternating music and the melody going on top. Teach you another way of playing it. All right, so let's take a look at this. If you've gotten your tab by now at that link above there, that's all great. And let's take a look at just exactly what's going to be going on in this song. It's very classic Piedmont style with the alternating bass going back and forth between a couple of bass strings while there's a melody being played on top. That's the hallmark of this style. It's also a jazz progression. Yeah, it's going from a C to a C diminished, and then up to an A, and then a D, G to C. That's different than just a blues progression. It has a jazz element of those chords in it and the way those chords move. And it's also what's called an AABA style, or a format, where you hear that AA, or that first part, the A, it repeats twice, and then it goes to the B part. It goes into the D, and then it gets into the G, and then finally back to the A one more time, and that would be the end of that phrase. So let's take this one measure at a time. This video will remain on my Facebook page. So if any point you come in late or you didn't catch this, you're here now. And I was there, but I'm here now in that life. So let's take a look at this. From the very first measure, we're starting off with a C chord with a high G, like this. And I'm going to be playing this measure. Now what I'm doing is I'm getting the bass, then I'm coming down and I'm grabbing three strings, the fourth, second, and first, all together. Now I'm going to be playing a little jazzy chord in here, a C diminished chord. It's going to sound like this. My thumb is hitting the fourth string. First and second fingers are on the first and second string, and then I come down on the third string. So we have this now. Now we're going to the second measure. We're back into our C chord, and it sounds like this. Again, we have that alternating bass, pinch, and then that C note up in between. Now I'm going to repeat that first measure. But now I'm going to be going into an A chord. A little slide in there, so let's take a look at that very slowly. I'm hitting the open first string and fifth string first. I'm coming in on that A chord, but from an A flat behind it on the first fret, and I'm going to hit that second string. And as I slide up, my thumb comes down on the fourth string. So I get, but I add the, oh, there we go. So it sounds like this. And then right after that, hit your third string. Get that. And follow that up with 2 bass notes. So we have. Now in the second line, we're going to take that shape and move it up to the 7th fret. And we're going to take our second finger, put it down on the first string at the 8th fret. This is bringing in a D7 chord. Now this measure is going to sound like this. So I'm grabbing the 5th, 3rd, and 2nd string together, then the 4th and 1st string together, with 2 bass notes after that. Now I'm going to come into a G chord, but I'm not going to play the G usual way. Anna played it in this particular song with her thumb hanging in over that 6th string at the 3rd fret. And she played this little melody. So let's take a look at this. My thumb is going to be there, and I'm doing the alternating bass. But I got my first finger. Now I'm going to come down on the 4th string and put my 3rd finger on the A. Now I'm going to pick that up, put down my 2nd finger on that 4th fret on the 2nd string, back to the 6th string, and then open 1st string, and then down. So we have, and then right into a C. You're going to repeat that whole phrase again. So that's your A part. Now let's go into the B part. In jazz, this would be considered a progression of, in this case, now it's a 3, 6, 3, 6, 2, 5. Okay, so we have a 3 in the key of C. That's the 3rd tone in a major scale, do, re, mi. That would be an E. So instead of just playing an E note, we're going to play an E7 chord. That would be what we consider the 3rd in the key of C. So the progression would be a 3 right there. And here, this E7 chord, if you're familiar with the C7 shape, it's like a C chord, but adding my pinky onto the 3rd string. If we were to move that up to the 5th fret, we'd have an E7. But we're going to play it slightly different. We're going to keep our first 2 fingers where they are. And where my pinky was, I'm going to move my 3rd finger over there. And now my pinky needs a place to go. It's going to go on the 1st string, getting that high B note. So we have a G sharp, D, E, B. So that's our E7 chord. Etta played it like this. So let's take a look at that very slowly. Pinch. Another pinch. Now we have these little separate notes. There's that first measure. Now in the next measure, we have a little more syncopation. It's kind of nice, huh? Now we're going to go into our A chord, and we're going to finger it like this. Instead of playing it here, we're going to play it here like an F shape, but at that 5th fret. I'm going to be playing the open 5th and 4th string in my alternating bass, and I'm just going to have a little melody where I'm going to be going, So I have this now. It's like that. Oh. Gotta syncopate that. So now after that, we're going to be going down. We went for our 3 chord, and the A would be our 6th tone. This would be the 6th chord. Now we're going to go into the 2 chord, the D. We're going to finger the D7 like a C7, but moved up to the 3rd fret. We're going to alternate the bass between the 5th and 4th string. We have this. There's that first measure, bass, pinch, 4th and 3rd, bass, 5th string, 3rd string, 4th string. Now I'm going to grab the 5th and get this in the next measure. I'm leaving out one note, but we'll get to that one. So we have a 5 and the 2 together, 3, 4. There's that second note. So you have it. Now we're going to take our thumb and go right here, and then come up like that. So we have. And we're going to do this cool little lick that Etta showed me. So let's take a look at that. We have a B flat, B, G. And we're going to hit an open 3rd string and bring it again. And again. And the open 1st string. So we have. And actually when she played that, she was smiling at me like, hey, check this out. Now I'm kind of doing that with my 1st and 2nd finger, just working at. I'm using my 1st finger on that 3rd, and my 2nd finger grabbing that 1st string there. That's how I play it anyway. And then it goes right back to the A part. So I'm going to play this again, straight through. And you could just sort of follow it along on your tab, but you have an idea of what's going on. And again, you have the tab, and you can follow this lesson on my Facebook page in case you missed anything. But now let's listen to the whole thing put together. She would just repeat that over and over again, and if she ended it, she may do G, A, B, and C. She may have done something like that. I can't remember exactly how she ended it, but I want to show you now. If you go to your 2nd page in the tablature, I'm going to show you a slightly different way of playing this. And my thinking in arranging this was to use the same chord progression, okay, minus the B part, because we're going to go back to the B part, but take the A part and just play the same chords but in different ways. And that's kind of how you can make it sound pretty interesting. So we have this now. just something kind of interesting and something a little bit different for you. I hope you like that one. And again, if you have any questions, you can put them right into the comment box. I see pretty much everything that's going on in there. I'll just refresh the page a little bit. And if you have anything to say, or even want to say hi, that's all good too. So let's take a look now again at the at this arrangement. This will be on the second page of your tab. I start out the same way, the same first measure, just to reorient the ears. But instead of going back to the C here, I'm going to come up to the C up here. So here I've got my first finger at that 5th fret, barring the first 4 strings, and my pinky is going to come up here on the high C note way up here, and I have this sound. So I have this. So I have it. I come right in with the 4th and the 1st and 2nd string. Now my thumb is going to alternate between the 4th and 3rd string now. And then I'm going to shift my pinky over. Like that. Get that. Now I'm going to come back to that first measure. I'm going to go into that C again. Now I'm going to come into my A chord. So I have this. So altogether we have C, shift the pinky, back to the C, diminished, C, A. Now, as this is a C shape, you can move that up and make it a D shape, and a D is going to be our next chord on the progression. So we're going to do this. So we're alternating between the 5th and the 4th string. We're having our pinky stretched out to that first string at that 10th fret, and we're going to walk it down to a D7 chord. So get. Oh yeah, I realize you can also hit the 5th and 4th in the bass. So I think in the tab it's just the 4th and the 3rd, but that works. Now I'm going to go into a G7 chord. For those of you that are not familiar with playing a G7 chord like this, basically it's your first finger on the 4th string, 5th fret, 3rd finger on the 5th string, on the 3rd string at the 7th fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd string at the 6th fret, and our pinky is on the 1st string at the 7th fret. This actually derives from the D7 down here. Okay, we're just moving it all the way up. Now we're going to bar this first finger here because I want to get this. So I'm going to grab those 1st and 2nd strings a lot and alternate between the 4th and 3rd string. Pick up my pinky, let's get that 5th fret, and then put it down. Now when you're doing this, you can also, sometimes I use all 3 fingers and I'll get the 1st, 3rd, and 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string in there. And just keep the bass going. So you could do that. Now I'm going to come up with a C chord, but like the A chord, I'm going to play it here. Now I'm going to be adding my pinky onto that A note, and then pick it up again. And then end it with the G7. It's like that E7 we learned, but at the 8th fret. Grab it all together like that. So right after that now, we're going to be going again to the A part. We did the first A, we're going to do the A again, but we're going to use different chords. Same names, different ways of playing them. I'm going to play my C chord now up here at the 12th fret. Looks like a D shape at the 12th fret. And I'm going to do something interesting with my right hand. With my right hand, I'm going to break that alternating bass pattern. And I'm going to do something else that Blind Boy Fuller had done, Gary Davis had done, John Cephas has done, all from that Piedmont region. It's like a backward banjo roll. And it sounds like this. Now you heard banjos play really fast like that. Well, this is just the thumb on the 3rd string, middle finger on the 1st string, index on the 2nd string. And I repeat that. And then I end it on the 3rd string. Now I'm going to come into my C diminished, like I did a C diminished here, but there's another one here at the 10th fret. I'm going to do that pattern again, but I'm going to stop after the 3rd string. I'm going to start on the 4th string and then come down on the 3rd string. So I have, and then you could kind of stop the note by just picking your finger up, get a little staccato. Stop it on the 2nd one. Or you can go, you can do that. That's kind of an interesting, like that. Now, I'm going to now go to a C chord again, but I'm going to play it here, like we did before, and I'm going to do that same right hand pattern we just did. And then I'm going to play an A7, and I'm going to play it like we played the G7, but up at the 7th fret now. So you just form your A7, and you have, so that's kind of, now instead of it, now it's going to go from a D to a G back to the C. And instead of just playing it like a D7 or a G7, I'm going to play a little, like a little lead line while I'm alternating my bass. So that actually gives us a like part of it. It's like if you had a piano player behind you or another guitar player, they'd be playing a D, and that would fit in just perfectly. I'm going A flat, G, down to the F sharp, and I'm alternating my bass between the 5th and the 4th string. Now I'm going to go do a nice little lick in there like this. So we have our G, and we're starting that, think on an upbeat, ba-bum, and we're coming in with the A. Back to the G, then the E flat, and then open E. Now I'm going to use that open string to give me room to come back to my 1st fret in this area, and I'm going to hit the C to the A. So the next little part is E flat, E, C. So we have, all together it's, and I come in with, I bet after that I think, yeah, there's our next little line. G, A, B, C. So we have, but I'm not done yet. Little D, E flat, E. And end it on a C. So all together. here I'm going, grabbing the 4th string, 3rd string, and 2nd string, and then coming in on a C7, the 5th and 3rd string, and then ended up there. Now, how does that fit in to the song? Okay, well, that's the A part twice, and after I do that, then I go right back into my B part. Back to the A part. So that's just a way we can absolutely turn a song into our own. It's just using different ways of playing the same chords. And it's really all subjective. It's up to how you want it to sound. So it's always worth it to learn how to play the same chords you play over here. It's always worth it to learn how to play those chords in different shapes up here, different intervals. That's going to give you different sounds, and from there you can just take it anywhere you want. So again, I have to keep these lessons short and rest the hand now. So at any rate, I want to thank you for watching this video. And you can always download the tab. The link is always going to be up there. And above that is a donation link. Anything that you can donate would be vastly appreciated. I want to thank very generous people that have donated on the first session. It really is helping me because I'm going to be taking this and putting it aside for seeing the OT. And then hopefully, well, I think Medicare is going to kick in around September. Unfortunately, it's going to take that long, and at that point I'll be able to see a neurologist if I need to, but I think I'm going to see one anyway, just to really get an idea of what happened and how to prevent it. And that's what the OT is working with me as well. Same thing. So anyway, folks, I'm glad you had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And hopefully I'm just going to keep improving each week until I can get right back to where I need to be. That's the super important thing here. So anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you again sometime. Thanks again.